Hey everyone, welcome back to Jordan Lee Tarot. So I have 3 decks that we're going to be using for today's reading, and they are the Soulful Woman deck, the Sacred Destiny Oracle, and the Light Seers Tarot. So those are the 3 decks that we're going to be using. I know some of you are curious about that, so I always like to share that information. That way you can get a deck that might speak with you, that you want to use for your own practice. If anyone wants to know how to get great at tarot, read your own cards a lot. Ask me how I know. All right, so stuff is jumping out of this deck. All right, let me put this here. Creative cocooning. Creative cocooning is a freedom I give myself. I create a safe nest for peace, healing, and calm. So this is that receptive state that you're in when you are going to create. I find that if I'm in a hurry or I'm in a rush or I'm like, I want to get something done, I want to get this done, I want to get this done, it's not the right headspace to get a lot of different things accomplished. It's typically a recipe for burnout. And if I meander through my day, kind of just going with the flow of the day, taking care of my normal daily tasks, letting the dog and the cat in and out, taking moments of rest, even laying down to take a little nap if I need it. Like those days are the days when I get more done. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but that's just been my experience. And I know not everyone can take a nap in the middle of their day. And that's not every day. That was yesterday. And yesterday was a Saturday. So not everyone's working on a Saturday anyway. But typically, if I give myself space and room between tasks, I get more done and I can typically like go longer in the day and get more done. So that's speaking to sacred rest as a tool for productivity, which is not as often discussed. Fearless self-love. Whenever I choose to love myself, no matter the circumstances surrounding me, I am practicing fearlessness. I gotta be honest, she intimidates me. This card, she looks like a badass, but she's a little intimidating. Maybe it's those high cheekbones. I don't know. So this is a focus because I can see it in her eyes. She's very focused, and maybe she's even looking in the mirror with this picture, which it does sort of look a bit like a mirrored image. Like that you're getting the view of the mirror and her reflection is the photo that you see. So I'm getting something about being self-focused, looking in the mirror, but how that is reflected out to other people, as in what are they seeing in the mirror? You know what you're seeing, but the viewpoint of anyone looking over your shoulders as you look into the mirror is different than your view just looking straight into the mirror. I hope that makes sense. So this is something about self-perception, and also about, maybe this is tied in with this because they came out together, about this perception of taking time to rest. And there's almost like a judgment around that. And other people might look at this as like, what are you doing? And you're doing what you need to do to get done the tasks that you need to get done today. And that's no one else's business but your own. So I am definitely feeling and sensing a lot here to do with a slow, steady approach to whatever you're doing. Okay. When you slow down, you are closer to spirit. I don't know how else to say that. But when I slow down, I am closer to spirit. My mind softens. I get in that theta headspace and I can just relax into a space where things are clearer, but they are more simple. And that is important in a world that gives us far too many options and makes our head spin. Sometimes all of the options that we have are a built-in distraction mechanism to take us further away from what is important to us. So think about that. Sometimes if we can simplify our life, a lot of people who do that tend to have a higher quality of life because their brain isn't having to work so hard to look at all these options or pick between all these things. They've actually simplified things for themselves, and it works for them. It works for the human brain more specifically. So what else in this deck for this collective? I embrace my body. I honor and embrace all of my body. I am receptive to her specific needs. So this is talking about that need for rest and also that need to get up and go when it's time to do that too. Sometimes being fallow too much of the time is not a good thing. Sometimes you need to sit your butt down and relax. The way that you need to go just depends on what is your norm. My norm is to not sit still. My norm is to do things while I'm not doing things. Well, if I'm watching TV, how can I be doing something productive on my iPad while I'm watching TV? It's just something that I've built into the way I live, and I'm trying to stop that. And so I've actually tried to cut back on technology altogether and very specifically read. So I found a book at a thrift store. It's actually one in a trilogy. I'm very excited about it. And if I like this first one, I'll get the others. So simplifying my options, meaning I'm going to sit here in silence and read a book, has made a world of difference. So it's helping my brain slow down. As a result, I can go do this, I can go do that. I recorded a podcast this morning. I did a little work on my Shopify website, and now I'm doing this recording. And probably the rest of the day, I'm going to relax. Keep in mind, this is a Sunday, okay? So some people are just vegging all day. But as a result of kind of puttering around, I got a lot done today just during a passive day. And I think that's initially what this message is saying, but it's also going deeper into the honoring of the body. And so, again, this is about you listening to your body. Ironically, the podcast that I was doing with my friend Kristen was about the intuition as it's linked to the body. And I think that's fascinating that this card came out. So there might be a bit of a thread of a theme to what's coming forward to be discussed. And I will put the link to my podcast in the description. I've never done that before, but starting with this release of this video, I'm going to start putting that in there so that people know that I don't just have this medium of talking to the camera. I also have the podcast, which is audio only, as a great medium to have beautiful conversations about esoteric topics with other people. So had a beautiful discussion with my friend Kristen about intuition and the body. Very specifically, she teaches yoga. I am a yoga instructor as well. How does that, how does the body lead us? You know, the body has a wisdom that even our mental mind doesn't always have such direct access to us. Because our intuitive mind is linked to the mind, there's a lot of other mind stuff that could get in the way. But the body telling you, hey, something hurts, pay attention. It's very direct, it's very simple, it's very obvious. And there's a power to that. So there's built-in fail safes, I guess, that can help you, right? Even when your intuition, your thinky thoughts are too thinky, your body will step in sometimes and be like, all right, it's time to pull out the big guns and make something hurt, freak you out a little bit. And again, that's not always a painful thing that you experience. Sometimes it's like, hey, do you feel how good you feel right now? Yeah, you should do this thing more that you're doing right now that you don't give yourself enough time to do. Honor your body and relax. I was buzzing around yesterday and I just laid on the sofa because the dog was on the sofa. And of course, you know, you just need to pay your cuddle taxes as you're going by. And I'm laying there with the dog and I'm snuggling and he climbs up on top of me. And I just lay there with him and he just acted like a paperweight on top of me. And I just got really sleepy really quickly. And I just closed my eyes and I was laying there. And it was just a beautiful, like 5-10 minutes that was like not planned, but it felt really good. And so my body was like, this is good. This is good. So I'm trying to do that in my own life where I really honor the body. So honor your body. And again, this could change based on the time of year, your location, and if you are a female, there are inherent cycles within your body that we really, really need to pay more attention to, because it really affects how and what our capacity is for that day. So some days your capacity is just greater to get more things done. And other days you just really need to rest. So honoring that, honoring how this plays into this reading. What do we need to hear, Spirit? Things really flip out fast. They're very flippy. Okay. I'm going to flip these so that they're organized a little bit easier for viewing. So the 8 of Pentacles card is about work. Work, 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 work. Look at all that stuff in front of her. She's got her work stuff on one side, and she's kind of got her esoteric woo-woo things on the other side. And I really like showing this part of this card because to me, this speaks of the 2 inherent sides that I often feel I am balancing is the very masculine part of my brain and then the feminine part of my brain. The masculine part of the brain that's like, you need to list your stuff on Shopify. You need to make sure that all of the back end stuff is done properly, that all of your items are showing up properly. Side note, I will be selling PDF wellness products such as a tarot journal and a chakra workshop that is a complete workbook. It's actually like a book, an ebook, but then a workbook with pages that you can take notes at the end. So those are the things that I'm building. And that requires just that masculine brain of learning and sharing information in a very correct, organized manner. And then there's this beautiful side of me that wants to flow and wants to do a tarot reading and might want to move around on my yoga mat in the middle of the day for no reason other than my body's asking for it. That's what this is. So what does that look like for you? Along with the Queen of Pentacles, this is such stability. And look how regal this individual looks. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or how you identify, but this energy is regal and secure and just at ease, but so abundant. So that abundance free flowing from ease, okay? From honoring the body, from those down times of relaxation. Okay. I make silly faces. I don't realize it until I'm like watching. And that's mostly so I'm in the frame because I lean out of frame too much. Anyway. Okay. What else do we need to hear, Spirit? What is calling us at this time? Knight of Wands. Let's clarify that. She's having a good time with her bongos. Aha. I feel like there's someone here, or the collective itself, that kind of punishes themselves for having a good time. I should be working. I should be getting this done. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be having fun right now. I really need to be focused on work. And this person is just like, woohoo, right? So there's this push pull that I feel. But again, it's the balance of knowing when to relax or when to go out and have fun. When your friend says, oh, there's a last minute availability to go on this really cool trip, right? There's an open spot. It's $700, all inclusive. I've got so much work I need to get done this week. Maybe going on the trip will open up a new facet of what work you have going on, right? Again, not every situation is like that, but how does that show up for you, right? I'm thinking of just random examples as I come across them in my mind. All right, what else, Spirit? I feel like there is more here. Okay. The Ten of Swords. So I feel like this is a repeated message said in slightly different ways a couple different times. This is all the things you got to get done. That's your Ten of Swords. And it's also the mental mind stuff, the anxiety. This is an anxiety card. The Nine of Swords card is actually really the anxiety card. But once we move to the Ten of Swords, we've really acknowledged how heavy everything is, how overwhelming it is, and we are moving out of it. I mean, it's that acknowledgement like, oh, okay, this is as heavy as the burden is going to get. It's not going to get any worse. We're going to move out of this next. And the Temperance card. So understanding that there's an ebb and a flow to everything. You can see the little symbols of the energetic flow there that are kind of indicating that infinite loop. But I think very, very truly that it's a balance between ease and burden. And burden might be a heavy word to use, but again, just trying to use a very succinct thought idea here. Okay? That balance between burden and softness and joy. And I think it is very, very necessary, because I say it over and over again in different ways, but how does that show up for you? How can you actionably integrate this principle into your life? Okay. All right. We're going to wrap up with this Sacred Destiny Oracle. I love when this message comes out, because who does not love this beautiful message of softness and trust? So typically when we are working too hard, there is a lack of trust in the universal energies taking care of you, that you feel you have to pull your own weight. I am very guilty of this. A lot of entrepreneurs and business owners are guilty of this because they're so used to doing everything themselves. And I feel like there are certain times in our life where it is absolutely vital that we give up trying to do everything ourselves and lean into a trust fall exercise with the universe, so that the universe can either guide you to people that are going to help you, or just be your direct co-conspirator to help you. Okay? They're going to lead you to the program that makes your life easier. They're going to lead you to the assistant or the helper that's going to make your life easier. Or they just, move energies out of your way and help you flow and do what you need to do with just your own energy. I think this is a divine message of relaxation. We've got this. We're here to help you. Let us take some of these burdens. The 10 of Swords card, again, more mental than anything, but the 10 of Wands card is the thing I'm thinking of. There's a person, they're carrying all this luggage, they're very overwhelmed. But the 10 of Swords is the mental burden of that. Okay? There's things being talked about now, even in a household, where there is just an equitable split of emotional burden, or like labor burden, like what's for dinner, the person who has to think up what's for dinner, not just the person who's going to go to the store and get the ingredients and make it, but the person who plans out the dinners. Typically it's the same person doing all of that work. But how can you split your workload, if you will, with your coworker? And in this case, the coworker is the motherfucking universe. It's a really good coworker to have. They are not lazy. They do not leave you with all the work. Said as someone who, in those group projects, normally took over and did all the work. But again, that's, that was just always the norm for me. All right. And I'm learning how to relinquish that control, give up some of the roles, delegate to spirit, And don't get too locked into how that help is going to look. Because it could look like you still doing the thing, but they lead you to resources that make it easier, or they could lead you to an external helper. It just depends on your situation. But this is where discernment comes in. Discernment is so, so valuable. What is the thing in my story? So trust and protection. You're okay to relinquish some of the control, maybe even all of the control. I think there's always a little bit of control that we have, right? That we hold on to because this still is our story. But you gotta let spirit meet you, you know? And so one of my favorite phrases is this or something better. Okay? Me finding an employee to help me do this job or something better, right? Whatever that means. Maybe it means your company merges with a whole other company and the other company does all the things that your company doesn't do, and vice versa. And then it's a perfect merge of different skills, right? But your resistance to a merge like that. Well, spirit's like, this is the thing. This is your thing. This is the way you're going to be most successful. So don't poo-poo the spiritual realm's ideas. Let them come in and share with you how things are going to go. I want to buy a house. Okay. Well, how about you do a rent to own? We're going to start you out renting at this house, but then you're going to eventually buy it from the owner. Oh, okay. That's a way to do it. All right. I didn't think of that. These are the things, right? This is how spirit comes in and offers their help. It's sometimes a little unorthodox. Yeah. Flexibility. Spirit solutions aren't always the way your solutions would go. Thank goodness. Embracing. Illumination. Release. So I think there is an echoing of this need to relinquish control, allow spirit to illuminate things in its own time. I'm seeing with this card, it almost looks hazy, foggy. And what that means is not everything is visible at once. So again, spirit will show you part of the plan, but not all of the plan, or part of the solution, but not all of the solution. So they kind of give you one piece of the solution puzzle, and you're like, okay, you put that together and you integrate it into the whole picture, and then you wait for more puzzle pieces, and then more is shown to you, and you integrate that. And again, not everything is illuminated at once. Sometimes part of the solution is foggy. Sometimes part of the way path forward is foggy. Again, pulling these cards kind of in reverse, embracing flexibility because you are protected. And don't worry, you can trust that we have your highest and best good at heart. So this is definitely a conversation about a big trust fall with spirit. Maybe there's something really big coming up in your life that you're really struggling to relinquish control over, or it's just a way of life where you're just working so much that you do not leave room for spirit to come in and help you. Okay? Spirit is always here to assist. They are the very best coworkers that you could ever ask for. And for people who have had to do things themselves all the time, who just really haven't had that physical human person support in their life, it is very difficult to accept that there are people here to help you. And the truth is, with spirit as a co-pilot or a co-worker, you have a very direct link to source. You have the beauty of solutions you can't think of because you get clenched up in the mind. And your coworker has your highest and best interest at heart. Why would you not want to lean into that? And some people need to hear this message because they've never heard this in their whole lives. Wait, what? There's a whole spirit team? Yes, everyone has a spirit team and they're dying to help you. They're like, oh my gosh, please let us help you. I don't know if I said this on this channel, but I love it. It's from Beauty and the Beast. And it's that song that I think the Candelabra was singing. He was like, life is so unnerving for a servant who is not serving. And he's talking about all of the pots and pans and dishes that want to be serving and doing what they do best. And there haven't been any guests to serve. And they're just sort of breaking down and getting dusty and feeling inadequate because they're not doing their job. And the minute they're given a job, they get so excited because finally they're useful. And I think that spirit feels that way sometimes. They're like, please let us help you. So understand, as much as you need help, they're dying to help you. These are friends from other lifetimes. These are people that are soul contracted with you to help you in the spirit realm, and most likely you have helped in other lifetimes as well. So it's a very, what's the word? It's a very interdependent. It's not codependent, it's interdependent. So it's a good system, and it's just full of riches that in our humanness we sometimes overlook. So ask your guides for help and just kind of relinquish control and watch what opens up in your world. So I hope this message had value for you. And until next time, I hope you have a beautiful day.